Hello everyone, and in today's video we are taking a look at Bitcoin and ETH price charts to get a better idea what's about to happen with the price of those two coins in the near future. I know you guys all like altcoins as well, maybe even more than those two OG coins. However, I think it's very important to watch out for the moves of Bitcoin and ETH so you can better predict what the altcoins are gonna do in the near future. So now let's get into it. So first of all, let's take a look a little bit closer to the graph, where we can see that the Bitcoin had two major pullbacks. We can see from the beginning of January it was about 25% drop until the end of January, and also recently about a week ago also about 25% drop. So those two moves are pretty similar. They happened after a successful bull run, and there was one interesting thing I managed to find, which is this support right over here, which actually goes all the way back to the beginning of the October, where there were the first purchases of huge public companies of Bitcoin. So we can safely say this is a pretty significant support. There was plenty of bounces off of this support. Also we had a short period in early December where it went under this but managed to spring back up over this support, and now it's been hovering all the time above this support. So now we can see a bit of a trend repeating itself. So there was this big bull run as I talked about, and from the beginning of the January there was this pullback. Now we had a pretty similar scenario again with a pullback, and now I'm expecting that close to this support there will be a reversal of this pullback. At the moment we can see a big green candle, so that's a good sign. However, there is still some room before it hits the support few days, so maybe in this week I would expect Bitcoin to start going up again in a kind of a bull run, unless there is some major bad news in the financial sector, because as we know these bad news also can affect the price of Bitcoin. And apart from this support, I've also found this resistance, which has been very significant also from the October period. We've had many bounce off this resistance. It only break through this resistance in the early January period but came back, and now we've had another break of this resistance, but it was a false breakout and it went right down under this resistance. So if we expect a similar behavior in the future, there is still a lot of upside for the Bitcoin. The breadth of this sort of a channel in between this support and this resistance is about 30%. However, it's very steep. So if we take into account a bit of time, let's say for example 30 days, so we can see that in 30 days it's more like 100% or 90% gains if it stays in this channel. So I think this is some great news for the Bitcoin holders in the near future, and we are still remaining very high above this all-time high from 2017. So there is a lot of upside in the Bitcoin in my opinion. Also, in some fundamental news, there was another huge buy from MicroStrategy, which bought another couple of thousand Bitcoins worth about $1 billion US. So they grew their position even more, and they have over 90,000 Bitcoins in possession, which is making them really nice profits, at least on paper with the current price. The main behind this move is the CEO, Michael Saylor. You may know him from some YouTube interviews, and also he was persuading Elon Musk to buy Bitcoin with the Tesla's balance sheet as well, and we all knew he was successful, and they bought about 1.5 billion in Bitcoin. And there was another big news with the Square, which also bought even more Bitcoin recently in the last week. So they bought another $170 million worth of Bitcoin at an average price of $51,000 per coin. So at the moment a little bit down on this price. However, I'm sure Jack Dorsey is playing a long-term game here. So actually, when they bought the first stake in Bitcoin, they purchased about 50 million worth of tokens with the average price of about $10,000. So they pretty much made $200 million with this decision by today's price of about $50,000 for one Bitcoin. And Jack Dorsey remains to be very bullish on Bitcoin, which ties nicely with is another news, almost a month old now, but it's nothing revolutionary. However, I think it's still an important thing to mention because Jack Dorsey has actually set up his own Bitcoin node, and you may know that node is the software that helps validate transactions and blocks on the network. This pretty much means that he has a hand in processing Bitcoin transactions and recording them in encrypted blocks of data. These nodes are very vital to keep the Bitcoin network running. So I think this is very bullish from Jack Dorsey and also shows us that he is very capable and has a pretty good knowledge about Bitcoin and how it works. Now if we take a look at the charts again, and for this time take a look at ETH, we can see it's still on a kind of a bull run. We have this kind of a channel here, but more importantly at the moment we can see that after the breakout over this resistance from the 2017 highs, there's been a lot of selling lately and the price has come just above the support, but this is a very strong support, and I believe that as the Bitcoin may soon start running up again, Ethereum could bounce off of this support again and start going upwards. There is this resistance from this channel, so maybe it's not gonna be as steep as the Bitcoin. However, there is still a possibility that it could break out of this, and I will show you why I think so. Because if we now take a look at the Ethereum divided by Bitcoin ratio, which means that if Ethereum goes up in value, that means that this ratio will go up as well. And if we now look at this ratio from a macro perspective, we can see that this ratio has been in this very long channel for over a year now, and actually at the moment it's sitting very close to this support, the lower support of the channel. I mentioned in one of the previous videos that there is a possibility that the ETH would drop down a little bit, maybe be catched by this support, but it break down the support and now it's resting against the support of the channel. There is one last support just under the channel one, so that's this one right here, and I don't think it will drop below this one. And in fact I'm very bullish on Ethereum staying in this channel and continue to outperform the Bitcoin in the near future. And if we see some very parabolic moves like we've seen in the beginning of January happen over again here in March, it would mean that the ETH would go really fast upwards compared to Bitcoin. Actually we can also look on the percentage, so the breadth of this channel is about 50%. If we scale it to about a month or over a month, it's about 60%, so pretty decent overperformance potential of Bitcoin. So this is the major reason why I think that Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin in the near future, and maybe quite significantly. So I see very much the possibility that it could break this resistance of the channel and go above it to new all-time highs. However, if we see some breaking down of this support right here and going under it, it would be kind of bearish and probably would stop this trend a little bit, at least for the next few weeks. So it will be important to watch out what's gonna happen in this and the next week with the ETH price. And this is it for today's short analysis. If you enjoyed this one and got some real value, please smash the like button to help me with the algorithm, and consider subscribing for more future content like this to come. Also, you can check my crypto series in the top right hand corner, and I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers!